The story I'm about to tell you is the reason why Christian churches should not be centered around one man. During the pandemic, I decided to start taking my mother to her church and join her at her church. I figured, okay, if we were going to two different congregations, we're being exposed in two different settings, and that just wasn't good for the family, especially with my mother in her 90s. So I decided to just join her at her church. I started attending, and the pastor was preaching the sermons. We all got to know each other. But then the pastor resigned and took on another church. And then there was a selection committee for a new pastor. A new pastor was selected. Now, this outgoing pastor set up a Facebook page for the church and was streaming the services on Facebook and making postings and announcements on the Facebook page. He set it up from his account. So he was the administrator of this church's Facebook page. But it still has the church's name on it. And so the new pastor comes in, and maybe after a few months he's in there, I sent a text to the former pastor saying, can you please turn over to one of us the church's Facebook page? Because we want to start streaming our own services at some time. And he made a cockamamie excuse. Well, I'm locked out of the page. I can't get into it. And so there's nothing that I can do. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but there's nothing I can do. That's what he said in text. Now, that's a lie. If you can get into your own Facebook page, then you can get into any page that you set up or that you are an administrator of. So that was a lie. So I texted him back. I said, well, why don't we meet at a library? And maybe we can contact Facebook. Maybe we can try to work this out, figure out a way whereby you can transfer control of this page over to us. Now, he ignored me. He just brushed me off. And probably the reason why is because I was the only one asking him. So he's probably thinking, oh, that's just contrary Ed. He's asking for it. I can blow him off. Everybody else loves me. Because he was loved. My cousins, who are the members of that church, love him despite the fact that he took on a new church. Some of them even go out to his church instead of our church. They'd rather drive out to hear him than to listen to my mother, their aunt, who they claim they love so much, teach Sunday school. But anyway, that's beside the point. And so I complained about it. I said, well, wait a minute now. This man blew me off. He has stolen our Facebook page. I've been complaining about that for just about over 2 years. But no one listens to me. They say, well, we can just start another one. And then I tell them, well, wait a minute. That's confusing to have two pages with the same name. Someone logs into Facebook, they type in the name of the church, and then they get two pages. That's embarrassing. It's unprofessional. It's ghetto. Get rid of that other page or turn it over to us. And there can be one page. But, they don't want to listen to me. They say, well, what you going to do if you get the page back? It's up to the new preacher to preach well and draw the people by preaching better sermons. Anything but to confront this former pastor. Then I noticed that a minister from Pakistan, sent a greeting to the church. Hi, we're praying for you from Pakistan. And I said, well, look at that. There's activity on the page. A man from overseas contacting us. Maybe we could reach out to him if we had control over the page. And then they said, oh, we don't want to fool with a Pakistani. He could be a crook, which he very well could be. But that's not the point. This former pastor, this thief, has stolen something that's the property of our church, and we ought to be trying to get it back. Somebody else ought to be contacting him. Since he knows he can brush me off, let somebody else contact him. And then maybe he would yield. But no. They just kept any type of excuse. Well, what's he going to do if he turns the page back over to you? We can't gain new members by getting that page back. Just forget about it and set up a new one. And I tried to argue, well, wait a minute now. There's continuity. There's 500 followers from the existing page. Why don't we just pick up where we left off? Just get this man, get your head out of his butt, ask him to turn over the page, and we can pick up where we left off. We send a message to the viewers of the page and say, we're back. And just keep on going. But no, they don't want to do that. And I've tried to tell them, hey, I'm media savvy. I can probably take this page and kind of work it and maneuver it and try to get some following. But no, I guess they don't think I can accomplish that. So I just kind of gave in. But I went to that page, the church's webpage, which this outgoing pastor claims he had no access to. And I noticed that he set up a link on that page to guess who? His new church. So what do you have? You have a bunch of old sermons from this guy going all the way up to 2022. No activity after that. But then a link to his new church. Come on now. He's a crook. He's a thief. Trying to build a following for himself on the backs of the church that he left. You can get mad at me all you want to. It is what it is. He's a thief and a liar. He lied to me, but my family, they don't want to back me. They're so in love with this man, even though he lied to their own dear cousin, Edward. They don't care about that. They're just in love with him. They don't want to confront him. But I called the current pastor after seeing that, and I said, Pastor, we're not an affiliate of this other man's church. We're not under anyone else. Now we need to contact this guy, ask him to turn control over of the page back to us. And if you don't help me do it, I'm going to go over your head and I'm going to sue him myself. That's what I told him. And so he agreed to get on the phone with the former pastor, call him, and I left him a voice message. So we're going to see what happens. But this is the problem when the church is centered around a man. Everybody just so in love with him. He left us and went on to pastor another church, but they're still in love with him. And nobody wants to confront him. That's the problem. And the Bible doesn't even say that one man ought to be over a church. You look in the book of Acts, it says elders, plural. You look at the book of James, it says who is sick among you. Let him call for the elders, plural, of the church. Having a church with one HNIC, not biblical. Not biblical. The plurality of elders guiding a church. And it's not supposed to be somebody ruling over the members anyway. That's a lie. Jesus said, you're all brethren. And he said, do not lord it over one another. You're all brethren. He said, call no man father, for you have one Father in heaven. Call no man leader, for you have one leader, who is Jesus Christ. That's what he said. But people don't follow what Jesus said. But yet they want to judge everybody and say everybody else is going to hell. But you don't follow Jesus yourself. You're following a man. And so I'm going to tell it like it is. And so this is my church. My social media sites. That's my church. Since, hey, we can't get back that page. People don't want to help me get that. I'll do it my own page. Do my own thing. Since my own family chooses to run behind this man, rather than allow me to help the church out. By the way, it's a church that our grandparents helped found, but they're willing to allow this man to to let it, I guess, get shot to hell because they're so in love with him. But that's the problem with centering a church around one individual. And I don't care. And then my cousins love to call my mother and say, Amy, look at what Ed posted on Facebook. Do it. In fact, I will play this video for my mother myself. I'm not 5 years old. Y'all telling on me. Think I care about that? Right is right and wrong is wrong. And you'd rather stroke this former pastor's ego than to protect your own church. That's embarrassing. You got a church's Facebook page with no activity on there, no postings, no announcements for 3 whole years. But yet you got a link to the man's new church. It's ridiculous.